right, everybody. So some of you are doing this assignment for homework, and some of you are doing it in class with me. You're going to create a 9-step value scale, or at least a 6-step value scale in your sketchbook, and draw and shade a sphere, blending values together. This will help us for our next long-term project. So in your sketchbook, open up a blank page, and at the top or the bottom, you're going to start with that value scale. You can use a ruler if you'd like to help you kind of create those boxes, but you can also just freehand them. I also used a coffee mug to help me trace the sphere. So at the top of my example, I am creating 6 different little boxes for my value scale in pencil. You want to have both your pencils handy. I'm starting with my lightest pencil. So an HB is the lightest one we have for you that I've given out. So I'm starting with that second box. The first box is white. It's the lightest value there is. And then I'm adding a lighter, a little bit darker of a tone to the right. To the right of that, I'm pressing even harder to make a subtle shadow. And then I'm going back to kind of clean up the edges. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you do want to show a little bit of craftsmanship. And now I'm switching pencils to my either 2B or 4B to make it a little bit darker. I think your pencils that I've given out are blue, so like wood on them. I'm going up and down to kind of clean up the edges a little bit. And then I'm going to use my hand to kind of blend the value together. So I have this really light value, slightly darker, and slightly darker than that. And then I'm going to press down even harder to create more of a shadow value. And then I'm pressing down even more. For that last value. Kind of cleaning up the edges as I go. And then I'm going to blend them together. It just makes the pencil marks less sketchy and a little bit smoother. You can use your blender tool too, or you can also use a tissue to blend. All right, and now you can freehand it, or I'm going to use my water cup and just trace the circle on it onto my sketchbook page. You can use a cup or whatever else you have that's a circular shape to trace. And then I'm going to look at that slide, the very start to this video, where it shows the image of the sphere shaded, and you're going to look at that and kind of copy what you see. So on this, the sphere has a highlight on the top right. That's where the light source is. And the bottom left is where there's the darkest shadow. And slowly kind of lighten my pressure as I move away from that shadow. And I move up towards the top right. Slowly getting lighter and lighter as I move up the sphere. The trick with this is don't rush it. I make it look easier than it is. It takes time to do something like this, and the more you draw, the easier it is. But you have to put in the work and put in the time. I'm lightening up my pressure as I go up the sphere. And then if you notice, there's a little white highlight on the sphere on the bottom. That's reflected light. So that's light that hits the table and hits back up onto the sphere. I'm leaving that little reflected light, and I'm going in and blending my values together. Use your hand or a tissue. I'm going to set a tone for the whole entire sphere now. And now I'm going to go in and put a shadow underneath it. Not only are you shading objects, but you're shading usually the table that they sit on. And that is what makes the objects look like they're not just floating in the air. If you're smudging a lot of your work, You can also rip a little page out of your sketchbook and just put it underneath your hand so you don't smudge the work you've done. And that shadow gets a little bit lighter as it moves away from the sphere. Okay, cleaning it up as I go. And then I'm going to go in with my eraser. That's what I'm getting right now. And I'm going to pull up a highlight. An eraser can also be a drawing tool. If you set a tone down, it can put in your highlights for you. I'm going to go in and kind of blend that out. So when you're ready, you're going to do the same thing, create a value scale, and shade a sphere. Upload your work when you're done, and that's it. Good luck. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding?